Welcome to episode 338 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, Vision Pro, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and we are on a special time frame this week because Patrice Brend'Amour is here, and I'm so glad she's back. How you doing, Patrice?
I'm doing well. I'm just, actually an hour closer to you now, right now at least.
Okay.
Because I'm in Portugal, so.
Well, I know we saw a nice view behind you there. That's great. Yep, there you go. And Chuck Joyner was able to join us as well. How you doing, Chuck?
Much to my surprise, Dave. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ben Roethig is here as well. Great to have you back. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing pretty good. The fog has finally lifted from the Midwest. But Midwest. Right. I can't talk today.
Well, yeah, it's been kind of weird weather here in the Midwest. So rain and not so cold, but it'll get cold soon. And Marty Jencius is here. How you doing, Marty?
I'm doing good. I love the holiday break for me as an academic. I get to tinker with computers, watch movies, and take naps, and then repeat.
Yeah. Yep. Been doing plenty of that. I took the last 2 weeks off of the year here, so I've been enjoying the time off as well. Last but certainly not least, Jeff Gamet is here. It's been a while. It's glad you're back. How you doing, Jeff?
Is it nap time yet? Because I really want it to be nap time.
Always.
Yeah, definitely. We can start sleeping right now.
Yes. I might actually be asleep right now. How would you tell the difference?
That's right.
But I'm actually really happy to be here with all of you. I have missed getting to spend time with every single one of you. And
yes.
And this, when I say this is a highlight of my day, I'm not just saying that. I am genuinely excited to be here with all of you. And I have to point out that I am so on board with Ben slowly doing the transition to Mirror Universe Ben.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
you know, I always have been a little bit light sensitive.
Yeah, well, you know.
Long live the Empire.
Yeah.
Long live the Empire.
Yeah.
Ben Augustus Roethig.
Yes. Yep. I work for Michelle Yeoh, y'all.
That's right. And Ben has already looked to make sure that each of us is carrying our agonizer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I called the Chicago Bears.
Don't start. Let's go.
That was
Here
a
we go.
sports joke.
I know it was.
Wow.
And
sport.
And a very bad team. Okay, let's go.
Wow.
Nice one, though. All right. This is the last show of 2024, so we're going to do a little bit of review of the year here and there during the show here today. In touch with Vision Pro this week. I wanted to hit a couple stories and talk about that, as well as three of us have Vision Pros and get a little bit of insight how it has been for 2024, and have you been enjoying it? What's all about? If you're liking it, what you don't like, that kind of stuff. But first off, I want to talk about this. This was an article. Apple Vision Pro is driving VR use from games to healthcare and productivity. There's been low sales. Everybody has been saying that. It's been a pretty constant thing, but do I really worry about that too much? And then you got to talk about market share. Yeah, okay. Meta has 73% of a piece of junk, basically. So this article actually goes through and talks about this, but talking about some real usage of it. Especially with medical, they're saying surgeons have been early adopters of the Apple Vision Pro because of its high resolution display, exceptional clarity in patient data and imaging, crucial during complex procedures. At $34.99, it's more affordable than traditional monitors, which could cost up to like $30,000. And the ergonomic design, real time data, and we talked about this before. Having the Vision Pro on their head is not anywhere near as bad as some of the things they've had to use as well. So I'm curious to know what your guys' thoughts on this. Patrice, I'll start with you. Where do you think this is going? And you work in the healthcare, so you know. So
yeah. different kind of healthcare, but we're not
Yeah.
providing Vision Pros yet, at least as far as I know.
No.
I mean, who knows? It's a big company,
Yeah.
so who knows? No, it's definitely. There's a million in healthcare and in other places. There's a million really good use cases. I mean, the whole AR aspect is just like it changes so many things. I know airline technicians using it for repairs, for example, to see which parts, basically have the repair manual step by step in their field of vision and say, okay, take this part out, do this, do that, make sure you do that, all of this. Same in healthcare. I mean, you can, for certain procedures that are kind of routine, you can basically say, hey, this is where we're going to start. This is I don't know where the incision will be and all of that, and you can literally project it basically onto the patient. So I think there's unlimited potential, and I'm pretty bullish on what you can do in the next, I don't know, 30, 40 years. So, I mean, it's going to take a while, but we're getting there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Marty, what do you think on this? Where do you think things are going on this?
Well, this article is based on a trend force analysis of these AR devices and sales and projections of sales. And it's, I agree with Patrice. There's just so many cool things that people can be using for it. I think one of the articles that interviewed one of the medical professionals just said, $3,500 for a device is a drop in the bucket for the medical community compared to the different kinds of devices we've had to use in the past. So, whereas other people won't see it as affordable, it is affordable in certain areas and the kinds of examples that Patrice talked about. So I think it's cool.
Yeah. Ben, you anything to add?
Oh, yeah. If anybody in the last 30, 40 years, we got a new piece of aviation training gear called the flight simulator. It completely revolutionized the way pilots were trained, that allowed them to get realistic hours without having to put wear and tear on an aircraft. Well, essentially in a professional role for highly complex tasks, that's what Apple Vision does for professionals. You can do complex surgeries without having to kill an animal to do it. You can do mechanical tasks. You can essentially do these tasks a million times on the simulated environment. So when you have to do it for real, you know where everything is. Mm-hmm. No, it's not the gaming device everybody wants it to be, but for very specific professional tasks, this is literally, and I hate using this word, next level.
Yeah.
Gaming is coming. I mean, that just time.
It's coming, but Vision Pro is more than just AR, VR, XR, whatever R.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I went on a rant this morning on Reddit when someone tried to compare the Meta 3 with Vision Pro, trying to make decisions, and it's like Meta 3 is a gaming device. The Vision Pro is not a gaming device yet. Yeah. It's a productivity device. Meta 3 is not a productivity device. Yeah.
It's not even in the same category, to be honest.
No. Yeah.
I've tried it both. They're not in the same category. The whole sales thing really annoys me because we've been hearing, they can only sell 400,000 because they can't make enough and all of that and blah blah, and it's a failure because of that. And then they sell more than that, supposedly. I mean, we haven't seen really numbers. And then people are, it's a failure because they're only selling 500,000 now. And I'm like, didn't we say 400 was the limit, and now we've done 500 in less time than you predicted? How is that a failure? And it's only in, I think, 14 countries by now. It's not even the world.
Right. Chuck, do you have anything to add on this?
Not really. I think the debate over the Vision Pro versus the Meta device is interesting, and it's kind of inevitable because so many people out that are not tech people, and especially not even headset people, really all they see is something that looks like a piece of scuba gear, and they don't really understand what the implications are. And I love the fact that the medical industry is looking at this, but there's so many things that you hear little bits and pieces of. But and Ben's example of a flight simulator is excellent. There's so many ways that this can be utilized for productivity and for entertainment, but it is a new device, and so people are still struggling to figure out, what to do with it, how to do it. And, I mean, I go back to the iPhone always. The iPhone didn't have apps at first, and then it got apps, but the apps were, well, no offense intended, but just little one-trick ponies. One app did one thing, and that was it.
The beer app.
Yeah, but even the productivity apps, were one-trick ponies, but they did the job. And then somebody decided, well, we could do this, we could do that. Then Apple gave them a few more sensors. Oh boy, we could do this. And, suddenly it becomes a level, and it becomes a camera, and it becomes not just a camera, but a video device. And now people are shooting movies with it.
Yeah.
And so, you talk about AI being in the early stages. We're even in earlier stages, I think, with this. And it's just a matter of having time to get there.
And I think, Marty and Dave will confirm that. It's really hard to explain the Vision Pro to people who have not actually used it, because there is no, even showing it on a TV or in a window, whatever, in an ad, it's not the same. Like, once you experience it, and I've had that with friends that have demoed it, they keep asking for me to bring it, here in Portugal. And hey, can you bring it again? I want to try more. It bends your mind once you've used it for a little while, but just explaining it to someone who doesn't really do that or hasn't really done that, it's really hard to explain.
There have been some fun videos on YouTube of people getting one for Christmas and then sharing it with someone who's never used it. And they're, it's you watching someone experience a demo on it. So it's not that exciting, but it is kind of fun to see how overwhelmed they are from the experience.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Let's get Jeff in here. I'll wrap this up.
I'll make my comment fast. And sorry about the shaky camera. My office manager is trying to use my display as a touchscreen.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So related to what everyone's been saying, Vision Pro will be seen as a failure, and the people saying it is a failure will continue to do so as it grows its market base, as it gets new features, and as it gets new software and becomes more and more mainstream. And they will just continue to say it's a failure, no matter how many successes it has.
Yeah.
Last question: when will Chuck buy one?
Wait, Chuck doesn't have a Vision Pro?
500,001 is what we need.
I'm still waiting for the compelling use case for me. Now, Eric Bolton has given me a couple real compelling things that I have to admit have tempted me a few times, but I'm still trying to envision myself strapping this thing on and being fully productive, as fully productive as I can be right now with my Mac and multiple screens. And I am just not quite there yet. I want to be there, and I'm probably as excited or more excited over the fact that I wanted to get there. But right now, balancing out both time and funds and the desire to get in on the ground floor is, it's a challenge. I want it. I just, if I hit the lottery, I'll buy 5 of them.
Hey, Chuck.
Well,
we should start a Kickstarter or something. GoFundMe.
Right. Chuck, I'm
Go
going
fund
to,
Chuck.
Yeah. Let's do a GoFriend Chuck. Here's a different way to think about getting a Vision Pro. And I'm not saying this just to be an enabler, but because I bet there's other people that are looking at
Well, you
Vision Pro
are.
the same way you are. Don't look at it as a device where you want to be productive in the same way that you are today with your current setup. Look at it as a device where you find the new and different ways you're going to be productive.
Yeah, there's two things, and I think, Chuck, both of them might be important for you. One, you cannot travel with your displays, but you can travel with your Vision Pro. Like literally what I'm doing. I'm using my Vision Pro as not right now because I didn't want you to see me like with the Vision Pro on camera, but usually I have the displays in front of me. I literally travel with my MacBook or my Vision Pro. And the second one is it's the most secure display on the planet. You could be sitting anywhere on a plane, on an airport, wherever you are. Nobody can see what you're seeing. So any sensitive information, if your work, you have to do something, whatever, nobody can see that. There's no privacy problems because literally you're the only one who can see that. That alone is for me worth it.
You guys are not helping.
We know.
Well, Chuck,
I was going to make comments.
You can look at my OnlyFans anywhere you are.
There you go.
Exactly.
Jeff, I was thinking that would be a perfect use case for you, that you could be on a plane and God knows what you'd be watching.
I think you know exactly what I'll be watching.
Well, I'll be interested to see, Chuck, since CES is coming up next week as we record what you see there. I would love to find out. Wish I could join you, but to see what kind of technology with Vision Pro is out there. You have to know that there's going to be some incredible exhibitors out there that talking about that. So I'll be looking forward to potentially you finding some of those things.
Dave, I'll give you just a little preview because I've seen a couple things come across the press releases that reference the Vision Pro. I've also seen, though, much to my surprise, a lot of still new headset manufacturers saying, "Oh, we've got this and it'll be great." And so I'm anxious to see just how many competitors there are, and then start to compare that how many of them will be in business 6 to 12 months from now.
Yeah, that seems like the trend every year when you see these things, and are they in business after 6 or 12 months?
Yeah. But look, that to me is part of the process. That's where the cream rises to the top, and everything else kind of crashes and burns. So.
But it also shows you that if this happens, then the market is ripe for someone to pick it, because they wouldn't be doing it if there wasn't any interest in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Since we're coming to a close to 2024, we're going to go through here to talk with Patrice and Marty and myself. Where do they think the Vision Pro, as we know it, since the year is ending, and talk about a couple of our favorite things that we're liking about Vision Pro so far and what we see in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So let me start with Marty here and see how you've been this whole year. I mean, you started a podcast. Obviously, you loved it so much that I would like to know what a couple of your favorite things are, and then where do you see the future with Vision Pro?
For me, I don't want to minimize the fact that I use it as an entertainment device. And that's a big portion of it for me. In particular, what I enjoy is 3D puzzles. And I can't get enough of those because there's no way you can do that I can think of effectively in any other kind of environment than without spatial computing. So that's kind of my Zen moment, is sitting with the headset on and playing with some 3D puzzles. I also find myself, when I get it on at the end of the day or in the morning, getting notifications, and I'll check on the notifications and realize that this is what's ahead of me or behind me from my day's worth of work. So entertainment, and also sort of the kinds of stuff that I could do on my desktop, not to discourage Chuck from getting one, but still it kind of squeaks into that moment when I'm using it for entertainment. I know Patrice has used this a lot for In Space. I think the killer app for me is In Space. I just haven't had the time to go in and join as many groups. And that community keeps growing. And
Yes.
there are, I think, training opportunities in that community where people could do some training online with the 3D spatial stuff. So I that app gets underplayed in a lot of places. When people say, what are your favorite apps? They always talk about some gaming app, or they talk about something other than the social networking and now kind of community-based experience that In Space does. And I haven't seen any other app in that environment that does that. So those are my two favorites, or three favorites.
And what would you like to see in the future?
Wow. I'd like to see it connected better with Apple Intelligence or some type of AI. I don't know when that's coming, but I think it will be coming, whether it's in a Vision Pro 2 or a Vision 2 device. If they change the chip in it, although they have an M2 chip in it now, they could run it, but probably not as effectively. So I would like to see more incorporation of intelligence, AI, LLMs, particularly, where I can ask it to do a series of tasks or some composition for me. Which again, I can do that on a desktop, but I would like to see it incorporated into that productivity environment.
Okay. And then Patrice, what's been your favorites, a couple favorites, and then as well as what you see for the future?
I was taking notes because I was like, what do I want to mention? Like, what's important stuff for me? So for me, the one I'm with Marty. A little bit of it, I think, like about 50% for me is entertainment. Sitting on a beach at Bora Bora, watching a movie on an airplane or wherever you are at home. Like I can be sitting anywhere in the world, and I can sit on a beach in Bora Bora, watch a movie. I've even done it with in spatial FaceTime with like some friends around the world that I met through InSpace, which is, I mean, that app itself, spatial FaceTime, undervalued to the nth degree. It is insane once you've tried it. It's just typical Apple. They're not really talking much about it. FaceTime. In general, the whole spatial content. I almost exclusively take spatial photos and spatial videos now with my iPhone. Like I'm out and about in like port here in Lisbon, and I'm just constantly taking spatial photos because I want to share them with my friends on InSpace. I want to look at them in my Vision Pro, and they look it's just so crazy. All the stuff Apple has been doing. Like, I mean, yeah, some of the videos they've released were okay. Some were better, some were worse. Recently the ice diver thing, it was okay. But the shark one was crazy. So like Apple keeps releasing not long videos, but like those little 10, 15, 5 minutes, sometimes videos that are really cool. So spatial content in general, massive thing and is only growing. InSpace, just mentioned, literally, I go almost every day. And even if it's half an hour, like right before I go to bed, I go into InSpace, meet up with my friends in the US and like from all over the world. There's like a guy from Sweden, from Portugal, from UK, from like Middle East somewhere. Every now and then some Chinese people pop in. Like it's really just a fun group to hang out with. And I literally, as I said, almost every day, I'm like, don't do anything before I go to bed. That's the one thing I'll do every day. So, and then the virtual display thing. I mean, as I said, I can travel with my display with me. Like literally put that Vision Pro on and I can have it as big or small as I want. And I can use the Mac display and then around it put other things like open the Safari, open InSpace, open like a video I want to watch or whatever. So I can do that on top of using my Mac, which is like for me, like productivity to the nth degree, because I'm literally like whenever I'm sitting on my sofa, I'm working on stuff. I'm using my Vision Pro. It's just so much better. For the future, more APIs for apps. I've heard from developers that there's a lot of limitations, like stuff like spatial FaceTime, what Apple can do, the in-space people can't do currently because they don't have access to a lot of the more advanced stuff on the Vision Pro. So I think that's a big one. Better personas. They've been getting better and better and better with every iteration. But I think, for me, especially with like long hair, it gets it wrong most of the time. So that's something I'm struggling with. I'm like, I take 4 or 5 times until it looks somewhat decent. I'm like, okay. And what Marty said, Apple Intelligence, Siri improvements. I mean, dictation is, at least for me, almost useless.
Yeah.
Like it's typing anything on the Vision Pro is a struggle. Like sometimes it gets it right, most of the time it gets it wrong. So connecting a keyboard is literally the only way how you can type longer things, and I don't think that's good enough.
Yep, I agree. And for me, I agree with you both of what the Mac Virtual Display is such a game changer. I mean, I've been using it extensively. Now we've got the wide display. Sometimes it's a little too wide. I'm in this room and I'm like,
make it smaller.
Oh my God, where am I? I mean, it is big, but so you want to kind of concentrate in your peripheral vision. So, and the wide display is cool, but you're going like this and turning your heads back and forth to look at it. So, but yeah, I think it's a game changer with this. And I agree with you. I haven't traveled I haven't traveled out of this room yet with this Vision Pro. I think I did a couple of times, but I got to start doing that. But it is an entertainment device too. I'm consuming a good amount of entertainment when I can with it. So it is a lot of fun with that. And I like to explore the apps, what's out there. I mean, there isn't really that. You said that we need more apps. I mean, they're so. It's just unfortunate that there's so many developers are still reluctant to jump in on this, but
it's coming.
It's coming. Okay,
you see more and more and more.
Yeah. So hopefully these reasons compelled Chuck to buy one. We'll see. But
I appreciate
you're pulling out the credit card already.
Yeah, you guys are so intent on spending my money, and I you don't get it. I want to spend my money.
I know.
I just want to get the value out of the device.
Sure.
As opposed to, an M4 laptop. I know it's not the same. And Jeff, I know was teasing me, but he makes a really good point about the way that maybe it could be a productivity machine that my current setup can't. That it's a next step or it's an alternative. So I honestly, Jeff, I had not thought about that. I've got to give that a little more thought because I think that's a great point. That and that goes not just for me but for everybody. That we're kind of stuck in the way we do it, and we know how to do what we do now. Maybe there's another way. Maybe there's a better way.
Yeah,
it's payback. It's payback for those Christmas shows you do, the gift list.
Yes,
because every Christmas before Christmas happens, I've already maxed out my credit card on stuff from those shows. So this is just payback.
Marty, you're welcome.
Jeff, Brandon, do you want to add anything else before we move on?
I do have a quick thought on this one. The future of Vision Pro. I think a very important thing for Apple to do is to work with developers and with their marketing team and their in-store teams to help people understand that Vision Pro is a standalone computing platform. Right now, far too many people see this as an accessory, a very expensive accessory for their Mac. And I think when you get people to start looking at this as something where this can be their sole computer, that's going to be a huge thing, and it's going to give us a big shift in the whole Apple computing space.
Okay, great. All right, let's go ahead and move on. The beta this week, 18.3, iOS 18.3 is still continuing. There isn't much to it, really. It's not a big deal, but there were some reports, and they confirmed it. There is a build number that iOS 18.2.1 is going to be released at some point. The build number 22C161, but no idea what it's doing. We got to go under the assumption it's going to probably be security vulnerabilities and bug fixes and that, because always a .1 release is always going to be that way. So not much else to say about that, but just be aware that sometime I would say Apple may wait until the beginning of the start of the new year before they release it, but it's going to be it'll be accelerating next year with beta. I'm sure we're already rumoring 18.4 beyond before even finishing 18.3. So there's going to be a lot of stuff, but no big things in the world of beta this go around. The Vision Pro is still on 2.3. iOS Apple TV is at 18.2, and Apple Watch is 11. What is it? 11.2. 11.2. Yep. So, but the Vision Pro 2.3 really wasn't much as far as adding any big huge features that I know we talked about last week, and Marty was kind enough to go. Yeah,
that's what they say every time.
Yeah. The stuff that they say changed with 2.3.1, I guess, if you want to call it that. Enhanced hand tracking, so developers have noticed improvements in the hand tracking accuracy, which I think is important, and then expanded API functionality. So they're thinking about that in terms of the update introduces new APIs that provide developers with greater control over spatial audio and haptic feedback. So those are the two biggies in 2.3.1.
I don't even see a 2.3.1. I only is that where
are we beta 1, I think.
Yeah, beta 1.
Beta 1. Okay.
Yeah.
You threw me off when you said 0.1. I did notice that because before, remember when I first got the Vision Pro, I was struggling to get the menu to come up by looking at my hand. Well, now I did my other hand yesterday. It was like, hey, wait, it works on both sides now. I barely looked at it, and it came up, and I pinched to go to Mac Visual Display. So definitely some improvements for sure. A lot of people complaining about the iOS 18's Photos app. And the headline with this Mac Rumors article is it's let it suck less. They introduced a new unified design that did away with the navigation bar, which I'm kind of annoyed about, and merging everything into a single screen. It's marked with the single biz changed the image management since the Photos app, and it's controversial, but is there ways of being able to change a lot of this stuff? Yeah, you could. There's some guides here as far as that goes. I don't know, Patrice, have you delved into this at all? Many changes, or are you happy with the way it is?
Not really. I mean, I'm always okay with changing things and seeing if it's better. But in this case, I find it harder to find things and harder to use it. It's not that it's impossible. You can't find it. Like it's usable, yes. But I'm just wondering, what is the intention behind it? What are they trying to improve? What are they trying to do that the previous version couldn't do? Where are they thinking of going with this?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. Well, one of the first things you should probably do is you look at it, if you haven't done it already, is scroll down to the bottom of the Photos app and tap on Edit. From there, make sure all your most used photos features are at the top of the app. In this section, you can find recent days, albums, peoples, and pets, memories, and pin collections. Pin collections are a little confusing because it's a second customizable interface that has many of the same options as the main app, but think of it as a folder in a folder. It can be used to put up top and access utilities such as...
Sorry. It should tell you something that when you mentioned that you can customize that, I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah. Okay. This is good. That's why I'm giving these tips out to everybody here to make those changes. And the other thing too is if you haven't spent a lot of time fussing with the app, you might not know about the filters and the full library view, which is which you get by swiping down, tap the arrows, and it will show the filters option. You can filter for photos, videos, edited images, screenshots, and and other items that you can also read out screenshots and shared with you images out of your main photo library. So there's a number of things that we can do. You can do to edit this. We'll put kind of I'll rank a few of those in the show notes here as far as some of the things you probably should look at. Articles here as well. Anybody else been struggling with the Photos app, Chuck or Jeff?
I'm sitting here reorganizing everything now because, like Patrice, I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm same way.
Yeah.
I'm same way. It's like, oh, this is interesting.
Nobody knows them.
This is nice because the way they have it set up, this has been extremely frustrating.
Yep.
You know, we're us, and we can't navigate this damn app. So, how does Apple expect to, normal people to do this?
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping they take a big look at the interface, for iOS 19, and go like, okay, this did not work. How can we change? How can we make it better and actually useful?
But
That's
you know what?
it.
But you know what, Ben? Now that Dave has clued us in on this, I feel like I can make this. I can take advantage of some of these things that before I was seeing as clutter, because I can turn them off. I can reorder them so that maybe something I don't use that much, I can put at the bottom. We should all kind of be ashamed of ourselves that we didn't do just a little more research on this.
No, Apple should be ashamed that they make it so obtuse to have discovery in their apps.
Yeah.
You have to scroll all the way through everything to the bottom to even find the button for it.
I don't disagree with that, but on the other hand, do you want that customized button at the top all the time?
No, but maybe the first time you launch the Photos app after a big software update, like when they made all these changes, why didn't we get a little pop-up thing at the beginning that said, hey, here's a couple new features that you might want to know about, which the sort of thing other apps do. And it can say, you can customize,
even
you
Apple
can do this
does
other
that.
thing. And yeah.
And also, it shouldn't be configured in a way that is best for power users like us. It should be configured in a way that is easiest for Grandma Susie.
You know what, though? I'm going to take a little bit of responsibility because, and feel free to disagree. That may have happened. But if it happens when I'm in the middle of something and I just want to access a photo that I need to right then, I'll say, okay, or later, or next, or whatever, and never go back to it. And that's my fault, because that's my failure of now. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I honestly do not know. But I know that other apps do that, and I have a bad habit of doing that. It's like, I don't have time right now, I'll look later. And then I never go back and look.
Yeah.
So,
well, and in this case, Apple
confusing.
didn't do it for the Photos app.
Okay, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. So definitely something that it's frustrating for me for sure. And everybody I talk to, my wife, others in my family, I've had to send this information out to here and change this right away because you're going to be much happier with all the photos and videos that they take every day. I think it's important to be able to be aware of this. So,
good job, Dave.
Yeah, thanks. The other thing I want to talk about a little bit is there's so much other stuff. A lot of people probably have received their iPhone 16s, a few people anyway, for Christmas. There's so much to go over, but I'm going to just narrow down a couple things. One of the things I want to talk about is the camera control button. I really like the camera control button. I know a lot of people probably aren't too super happy about it, especially now that it's added the Apple Intelligence items that you could have in there. And I talked about that last week. But there is a way to customize it. If you don't want to use the camera control anymore, it's got some great ways of being able to customize it. You could, if you do a lot of QR code scanning, maybe that you might find that more beneficial using that. If you want to do use it as the magnifier, if you're using the magnifier all the time, you could have a dedicated button just for that, because with the other button that they had before, where you can just set it for doing other things besides muting the phone's volume or doing other things. Now you can do it here with this button too. If if you don't take a lot of pictures or cameras or with your camera, or if you don't want to do it, you don't have to. Or you're going to turn it off. You don't want to use it at all if it annoys the heck out of you, because but they recessed it, so it's not so bad. But there are people that have been complaining that you can't, that you can hit it. But some of the camera features are pretty cool, I must admit. And being able to tap it and tap it again to go into video mode, and it's got some good, cool features. But I've been linking in the show notes as far as how to make some of those changes if you do it. Are you guys, how do you feel about the camera control button on the 16, of those who have 16?
It's good to open the camera. It's very easy. I have a hard time actually using it as a shutter button because it seems to be like it's a little bit too hard to press.
Yep. But Chuck, what do you think on this camera?
And please, Apple, when you're doing spatial, please put a detection in that when there's a finger in front of one of the cameras, you tell me, because I have so many spatial photos where, like, on one side of the picture, basically one eye, there's a finger in front because I had my fingers in front.
Oh no.
And it's really weird in spatial because, like, because it takes two photos, like, for both eyes. So I have one eye, it's clear, and the other eye, there's a finger in front.
Oh my god, it's so funny. How about you, Chuck, with the camera control button?
It's a work in progress as for me. I like the idea that I can adjust the zoom, to somewhere easily between the settings, as opposed to trying to do the pinch and zoom and figure that out. I have a lot of videos I've taken already that, I'm shooting it, so I want to zoom in, so it zooms in, and then I want to zoom back out, and it zooms back out. That's not horrible, but it's a lot nicer to just be able to smoothly pan in or pan back. It's not great, but on the other hand, you've got the phone, and unless you're going to try to make a whole side, it's difficult to do that. So I think it's a matter of me getting used to it, and I'm getting better. There's no question about it. I'm getting better as my touch gets a little more sensitive and I figure it out. And the shutter button, yeah, Patrice, I'm kind of torn because sometimes I feel like it is, but then sometimes I feel like it isn't, and I end up taking pictures I don't want. So
yeah, true.
Marty, anything to add with the camera control button?
I appreciate all the conversations about photography, not only the Photos app, but this camera button. But in order to buy into the importance of all of this, you kind of have to buy into photography being important in your life. I've got 20,000 photos or so saved in Photos. Most of them are duplicates. When I get an opportunity to use, so I quickly went into the app as you were talking about the app and paged through it, and then decided, okay, this is why I never go into Photos anyways. So those 20,000 pictures I never see once I've taken them. And I'm colorblind, so everything's black and white to me anyways. So I have not, when I want to take a picture, I want to point and shoot. I want a Polaroid. I want something quick that I don't have to manage a lot of stuff on. And if I choose to do something post-processing, then I'll do something post-processing with it. But I don't want to think too much.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what everybody got over the holidays for their gifts. And I'm not putting you on the spot if those didn't weren't there before, but was there anything that you got? I mean, I know we had the gift guides from Mac Voices. I'm sure I've already got a couple things here myself here. So, but I'm curious to know what you got. Did you get anything for technology wise for the holidays, Jeff?
I did not, but that's because all the people in my life know that if I need a technology thing, I should just get it. And because they won't know what to get. But to that end, my parents, they wanted to get me something for all of my stuff. So they just gave me a check for what they thought would be an appropriate amount to go get a
there
thing.
You go.
So I haven't decided what that will be yet, but
You'll have to report back.
I'll report back.
How about you, Patrice?
There's two things that come to mind. One is thanks to Chuck and especially Pilot Pete. It's a little travel router that I'm actually using right now, and I'm very happy I got, because it makes travel so much easier, because I have my own Wi-Fi with me. I literally just either connect it to the hotel Wi-Fi at the hotel, or like just plug it into the router here and have my Wi-Fi with VPN and security and everything already pre-built. So I don't have to connect to some weird other Wi-Fi. So that was really cool. The second one is actually the microphone I'm using, because I decided I was like, I should really record podcasts while I'm traveling. So I need a microphone, because I was editing an episode of Retro Rewatch where I was traveling and I used my AirPods, and I'm like, yeah, the quality, it's not great. So I bought the Rode NT USB Mini, and I'm very happy with it. It's really cool. It's really small. It's really heavy, which is great when you're traveling, and I love it. Like, it's really cool.
Nice. I got a couple gifts. This one was notable, and I didn't have it on my list, surprisingly. This is it's a AirTag wallet. This is the link here. I got it on my camera here. It actually lets you, with the app, put pictures here on the front,
Nice.
set here. I just used one of the stock photos here, and it's kind of cool. You can put your own photos in here. You can put all kinds of icons and all that stuff. And it's just the only thing is, if you carry a lot of stuff, and if you're the Seinfeld guy who has that big giant wallet and all this crap in it, no, you're not going to be able to use this thing. But it sprints out. You keep your cards in here, your license, whatever. And there's
what's the company's name?
It's called the E-Ink Air Wallet. It is Chinese made.
Okay. Because
they have a separate app.
Very good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had a separate app that you install, and that's how you got to use their app to add the photos to the display here. But it's something. It's pretty simple. I've been using the Ridge. I'm sure you're familiar with that.
Ridge, exactly. That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, this is what I have. This is the one I have now. I've been using it, so I'm on the fence whether I want to keep this one or not. The nice thing is the AirTag part of it. I was like trying to figure out, is there a way I can incorporate this into this one? But I probably not. I mean, this, of course, they're using torque screws to pull these screws off here. But luckily, they supply the tools, so you can take this off. So you pull it off, and there's two 2032 batteries inside there. So, but I don't think there's no way I'm going to be able to incorporate it with the Ridge. Marcus Brownlee, he's the one that promotes this one. That's what got me hooked on this. And holding my money clip in the back there, and just keep a little bit of cash in here, and then some credit cards, your license and stuff. So I thought this was cool. As far as what I got, a couple other items, but I'll keep it at that. Did you get anything, Chuck?
I did not get anything tech oriented. I'm sort of, my family and friends know the same thing about me that they know about Jeff, that I either get it or they don't know what to buy, so they just let me buy it myself. So,
well, I made my list so people knew, because I gave the family the links, and they.
Well, see, you're smarter than we are, Dave.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Right.
Didn't I think of that? I could have given my Amazon wish list. Yeah, that was dumb.
Chuck, now we know what to do next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how about you, Ben? Did you get any gifts?
Yep, I got myself a few gifts. First is a little bit obvious. It's my Beats Solo 4s.
Yep.
Which, yes, they are hooked in via the USB cable for lossless.
Nice. Just the way the Lords of Cobol intended.
So say we all.
So say we all.
Yep. I also got this little, trying to show about my my phone on it, but my good old Razer Kishi Ultra.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, they basically turn your phone into a high-end gaming machine. I got those a little bit before Christmas, but let's just say I'm very happy with the money I spent this year.
Good. Glad to hear. So, all right, let's go ahead and we'll move on to some of the news before we wrap up this week. First story was Apple is set to become the first $4 trillion company. It's on the brink. It's a history. It could be surpassed. The market has been reported by Fortune. Apple stock has risen almost 40% in 2024. I'm sure for those of you who are Apple stockholders are very, very happy, including me. Before the markets opened on the 27th of December, which is today we're recording this, that's where it's at. And they're saying that Apple has entered a golden era of growth with its AI initiatives serving as a pivotal driver. And they're saying the price could go as far up to $325 a share. That's pretty nice to see if that could happen. Well, it's hard to say because, as we know, the market is unpredictable. A lot of analysts are saying good things about it, and Apple's nearest competitor in terms of market capitalization is Microsoft and Nvidia. I have those two as well in my portfolio, and they've been benefiting from advancements from AI, but trail well behind. At a mere 3.26 trillion and 3.43 trillion, respectively. So Nvidia has been going like gangbusters with their GPU technology, as we know, and then Microsoft, of course, is Microsoft. So, any thoughts on this, Chuck?
I think it is shocking that all the criticisms that Apple gets for, they could do this, they could do that, and still people keep buying things and the stock price keeps going up. So I'm waiting for it to hit 4 trillion, and I'm hoping for, I'd like to see it at 325, of course. I'd rather see it split if, at some point, and
that would be nice.
Get it back down where people could afford it a little bit easier, or we could add more to it. But the idea that when it gets down to around 100, it's easier for people to buy it.
Right.
Where it is now, it's a little tougher. So I would really like to see another split.
Well, I have a little bit of stock in Costco. Costco's at least at $1,000 now, because their market share has been growing like crazy. But I bought it probably when it was around 300 or 400. So, so it's done some real well. But that's just Amazon was the same way until they split. Now Amazon's starting to see some growth too. I mean, I think Amazon was close to $1,000 share. So was Google until when they split and split into different companies.
So was Apple. It's not the first.
Apple was at that point. Yeah, I remember that.
Right. But Ben, I think we both know what's going to happen to Apple, right? There's one word: doomed. It's a doomed company since 1974.
Marty, anything you want to add to this?
I'm excited about this, and it's always fun. It's a horse race, and it's a long horse race, and people keep switching positions around the track. Chuck got me on the Apple stock idea just this last year, and so it's been kind of fun. I don't do a lot of personal investments. I have portfolios, and those are managed. But the idea of just having that app on my phone where I can kind of look and see how the stock is. And the suggestion from my wife saying maybe we just need to take each paycheck, we need to set some aside and just put it into more Apple stock as it happens. So,
yep, mine's is part of my 401k, so I can't touch it. So, Jeff, Ben, you have anything else to add?
Nope. Just keep making money, Apple. Just keep making money.
All right. Here's what I would have loved to have seen in this article. Because what? Why are you laughing?
Because I love when you give us your insights on writing. I love it.
Okay, so what I would have loved to have seen, and had I been the editor for this piece, I would have asked the author, go back and give us a little bit of interesting information. Tell us how long it took Apple to reach the 1 trillion mark. How many years was that? And then compare that to how quickly they went from 1 trillion to their projected 4 trillion. That would be a really interesting comparison to see.
It took over 30 years, I think, to get to that point.
So over 30 years, and and then in a fraction of that time, from 1 trillion to 4 trillion.
There you go.
And compare it to the other people in the horse race?
Yeah. Marty, it's like you're reading my mind.
That's sometimes I can't drink enough to get it out of my head.
I totally get it. Same.
All right. Apple TV Plus has a mysterious announcement coming in January of 2025. Apple's been running this campaign with scenes from different Apple TV Plus shows showing the tagline, "See for yourself." According to Apple, the unknown event will take place on January 4th and 5th. There's no details what exactly Apple will announce, but it could be related to a preview of what's to come on Apple TV Plus in 2025. However, the same people think that the mysterious event might be something bigger. Given the tagline, "See yourself," some speculation that could be that Apple might be letting everybody know the Apple TV Plus contact for free during the first weekend of 2025. I don't know if they'll do that again. They did it in 2020, but that was a different situation. So, and I'm going to combine some other things I was talking about. Apple did also tease a 8-minute teaser of the second season of Severance. I did watch that. That was pretty cool. Can't wait to watch that. That's a great show. It was under bonus content. You could see it. They did full 8 minutes of it, which was great. And then, as we know, it's been 5 years since Apple TV Plus came out. So, Patrice, what do you think?
I mean, it's not a secret that Apple seems to be doing something in January every year. Like if you go back the last couple of years, it's front. I mean, we're in December, so it's hard to remember that probably. Right. But since I did for the big show, for the Mac show on BTN, the quiz, I look at January, and there's for the last couple of years, every January they do a bunch of little things. It's like some Apple TV stuff, Plus stuff. Sometimes it's like Apple Card. Apple Fitness Plus is often in there. They're like doing some new features and new content for Fitness Plus. It's fun. So, I think this tracks. It's going to come. I'm very excited because I love Apple TV Plus. I love Apple Fitness Plus. I think I love Apple like we do. We all do. So very excited and not a coincidence. Like this is predicted and expected.
Yeah. What do you think, Jeff?
All right. So first, I have been so busy this last month. I've been completely out of the news cycle. I had no idea we had 8 minutes of Severance we could watch. Guess what I'm doing after we're done recording here?
Watching an episode of Stargate SG-1. No.
Right. I'm behind on Stargate. And yes. It doesn't surprise me that we're getting the announcement that Apple is doing something in January. And Patrice said all the words that matter for that, so I don't need to repeat them. And I am looking forward to seeing what those announcements are. And hopefully I won't be quite as busy, so I can find out about them in real time instead of like right now, where I'm finding out about all the stuff that's coming here in real time with all of you.
Yep. How about you, Chuck? What do you think?
I love the fact that Apple is finally, it sounds like, trying to do something a little bit different and a little bit exciting with Apple TV Plus. Because I feel like Patrice referenced it earlier in relation to, I think it was In Space.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, they're a little too modest in certain areas. And it ends up goes beyond being modest, and it leaves us uninformed. And so I don't know what's coming, but I'm just happy to see them promoting it because I think it's one of the most underappreciated Apple products out there. And we go back to that value thing we were talking about with Vision Pro. I think it's an incredible value if you're looking for good quality shows to watch. There is such a great variety across all, every category you can think of. You may not have. I think people get confused over the hundreds of thousands of shows that seem to be on some services and the relatively few that are on Apple TV Plus. But I want to watch so many of the ones on Apple TV Plus, and so many of the other things are just just chaff on Netflix or Prime or any of the others. So it depends on what you're looking for. But yeah, I'm excited. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't even have a good speculation. But just the idea that they're doing it is making me very happy.
More spatial content. Look at.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe so.
We hope so we can watch and experience more special content on the Vision Pro. Ben, do you have any thoughts on this?
The conspiracy theorist in me wonders if it has something to do with the Lassoverse.
Huh? Possible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I bet we'll get that.
Yep.
Hey, Chuck, you made a comment that that immediately sent me back to my web browser to start doing some research. You made a comment about Apple not having that much content compared to other networks, and I'm like, is that true? And it's like, so the Google search I did is how many original shows does Apple TV Plus have? And of course, Google being Google now just sucks at giving me the info that I really want. But in the first page of results, it's like one of the headlines: 25 best Apple TV Plus original series ranked. That's not a full list of all the Apple shows. It's just 25 of them. And let's see. Oh, okay.
That's probably hundreds and hundreds of shows by now.
Right. Yeah. And okay. So here's a 9 to 5 article from December 20th, 2023. Apple TV Plus released 50 original shows and movies in 2023. So just in 1 year, that was 50 original things. And they've rolled out more in 2024. And I think this goes back to what everyone else is saying about Apple being, or no, was it you, Chuck, that said Apple's too modest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here's a perfect example. Just like with Vision Pro, they haven't done a good job of getting people to really see what the device is. And here, even us in this space where we're following this stuff all the time, it's easy for us to look at Apple TV Plus and think Apple doesn't have that much content, especially when you look in comparison to other services. Holy crap, Apple TV Plus is 5 years old, and it has apparently a metric bucket load of content, and there's more coming almost daily, it seems.
Yeah,
seems
like it.
And
like
Jeff,
a lot of these. Go ahead.
Yeah, I should have clarified. That it's the back catalogs that a lot of people seem to value. And yes, there's some there on Apple TV Plus, but you've hit it on the nose. It's the new stuff, and there's more coming, and new as in, let's just say in the last 2 or 3 years, that it competes very well with some of the others. It's the idea that people go back and say, "Oh, I want to go back and watch episodes of MASH." I mean, and nothing wrong with MASH or any of the other legacy shows, but let's get away from nostalgia. Let's look at what's current, and that's where I think Apple TV Plus shines.
Well,
that's Apple,
yes. Apple TV Plus is not an archive service. It's not a back catalog service. Apple does original content, and Patrice, I know you're doing this. Of course, there's exceptions, but
they have some.
They have some, but for the most part, Apple is all about original content. Whereas, like with Netflix, it was all about all the old stuff, and then they got into doing new stuff.
Yeah.
Apple's just really focused on the new stuff.
Remember those experiments Apple did for, I think, was it 2 months of like having a ton of like really good movies from a back catalog from other other producers. I'm kind of wondering if they haven't like done some sort of deal and we're getting more and more of that now.
Wouldn't be surprised.
And it's great because if I remember those experiments correctly, Patrice, it was a nice variety of things that lasted for a decent period of time, but it wasn't going to be available forever. And
Yes.
so if I wanted to watch, I don't know, an old favorite
Top
movie.
Gun.
Okay, Top Gun. Yeah.
Top
So if
Gun
I
was
wanted to
one, I
watch Top
think.
Gun, yeah, it was there for a while. It's like, oh yeah, okay,
Mhm.
great. So there's my little dose of nostalgia, but then
Mhm.
come back to Apple TV Plus for something new.
And
Although I
Yeah,
was
they-
watching.
keep that in mind. Like the other services, stuff disappears from them as well. Like as one example is because we're talking about Stargate SG-1. I heard the other day, Stargate SG-1 is disappearing from Amazon for some reason. Who knows why? Because they actually own it, but it's disappearing. So stuff disappears from those services all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, now they're on Comet TV now. I just noticed that the other day.
Okay. 263. Nice.
So,
Go ahead, Ben.
Patrice, you just stopped my heart because I didn't know until just now that Stargate's leaving Amazon Prime.
Mm-hmm.
This is horrible news for me.
You got to
Yes.
finish the show.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's gonna be hard. I think that's impossible. Yeah.
I've slotted up season 9 like that was coming up on Comet TV. I had set YouTube TV to record them, so I'm going to start watching now.
So I don't know.
Alright.
Does this mean there's a box set in my future?
Yes.
Potentially, yes.
Those greedy corporate chauva.
I love that I understand that joke.
Oh my gosh! All right, and I'll briefly mention that Silo on Apple TV Plus is now already has a 3rd and a 4th season already in the books. They're gonna be doing it. So
They're gonna
there's a
finish the
lot
book
of-
series.
Yes.
which is great. So the Silo is going to continue on. So it's great news. Last story I want to talk about this week is Netflix. Netflix is interesting. I know not everybody here are sports fans, but they did score a touchdown, as the article is saying here, that the NFL Christmas Day streams were worked without a hitch, which was amazing. I did watch, and it was quite anticipated foray into the NFL streaming on Christmas Day. And this is the first time that the NFL had games on Christmas Day in something like 90 years, I think it was. Some crazy times, and some of these teams had to play 3 games in 11 days, which is a lot.
Wait. You're saying that these sports people that are paid ridiculously insane amount of money had to work 3 out of 11 days, and people are saying, well, that's a lot of work. Holy fucking shirt balls. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll move
for
on.
60 minutes too. By the
For
way.
60
Yeah,
minutes. And they all wear costumes that I guarantee you none of them had to pay for.
Costumes.
Costumes.
So I mean, the experience was good. The announcers were horrible. The pregame was just beyond horrible. And then someone's talking, and all of a sudden, because now they had ads, which is unusual for Netflix. They don't ever run ads. So the game had ads for the whole time, each game, and person's talking, and all of a sudden they interrupt her right in the middle of her sentence and put on an ad for a new Netflix show that's coming on, and just interrupt her. So, but overall, it was a good experience, compared to what the Tyson fight was with all the all the buffering and such. So, and they had something like 65 million people watching both games. So, is this a future thing that Netflix is going to do? Probably. Ben, you're a sports fan. What do you think on this?
I hope not. I mean, quite frankly, the stream looked like circa 2018 Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it was not great. It was okay.
I mean,
Both games are blowouts. So
yeah, it's something. It was nice for kind of a one-off type thing, but if Amazon wants to get into the ring on this, so to speak,
which they already are,
which I use that very purposely.
Yeah.
I would like to see them to have a couple years of experience running the WWE live streams.
There you go. Any thoughts on this? I know this is a good way to wrap up here. I know not everybody here is sport fans. Chuck, you want to have anything to add on the live streaming part of this?
Yeah, I watched both games. I missed I think
okay.
a little bit of the early the pregame stuff.
Didn't miss anything.
I didn't see it as a bad thing that they ran the advertisements for other Netflix shows on top of the announcers because of the announcers. Please.
Yeah, they were bad.
Yeah, it's believe me, the ads were more interesting than them. It was very clear, like if you didn't watch, the football shaped cakes that they gave out and the robes
the red
and
velvet.
everything. Yeah. And it's okay.
Kelsey and Mahomes walked out. Oh my God, that was so funny.
Oh yeah. But again, something a little bit different. They were trying to differentiate themselves. Frankly, the only thing, in my humble opinion, the only thing worse than the announcers was the halftime shows. That's a whole other discussion that we won't get into here because I will get in trouble. But they pulled it off. They pulled it off. They took a big risk, and I don't know what it cost them because I was dreading it.
$150 million they paid for that.
150. Okay, so I was dreading it because of what happened with the Tyson fight. So, but the stream was absolutely perfect while I was watching it, and I think it just opens the door for Netflix to now prove that we can handle it. So,
yeah. Anything else, guys, want to add?
I was in a Christmas Day raw cookie dough comatose for the day, so I did not. I kept saying to myself, "Isn't there some football on here I could watch?" And just completely missed the Netflix thing. I think it was just a slap in the face to Twitter to say, "Hey, we can do this, and you can't."
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. I mean, there was a lot of unhappy people, especially the Chiefs. Chiefs is a big, very popular team this year, and it's been for the last few years. And a lot of people didn't get to watch it if they didn't have.
Apple could do it using spatial video.
That would be awesome. That would get me to watch it.
Yeah.
Marty, I think we've had this kind of part of some of these conversations before. I think all that's coming. It's just, it's not, but with this, it's not just a matter of setting up a camera and saying, here, point it at that. The videographers now have to figure out how to deliver on the full capabilities and benefits of spatial videos. So, there are people trying to figure this out. And the
bandwidth required for that. It's about what was it? 1 gigabyte per minute or something like that when you look at the videos from Apple. So that's a lot of traffic.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't necessarily have the downstream to do it. So, they're going to have to be some kind of options for compression or compromises or whatever. So it's, again, it's early days.
It is. Yeah. All right. That was a great show this week, everybody. Thanks for you being here. We had a blast here, and we're going to repeat most of these people here next week for another early morning show for the holidays. And we'll probably talk about what's going to happen in 2025. You will never know. We'll be talking about some great stuff about Apple for next week here. So, but until then, that is a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Mastodon at intouchwithios, at techhangout.social. Thank you, Patrice, for letting me host that. And support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We'd really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We would really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we are live streaming. Usually it's on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/intouchwithios. We had a few people in there today. Brian F., thanks for being out there. We appreciate it. And you also can visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discussed are flipped into that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and many others. But just better yet, go to our website, which is intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are on that website. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on Blue Sky and Mastodon at DaveG65. Patrice Brend'Amour, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure having you. Where can people find you?
Thank you for having me and for also moving the show to this time. I mean, I know the usual show time is a little. Actually, would have been okay this week, but usually it's a little bit late for me. You can find me usually every week on the British Tech Network with some of the people here on the panel. On the Mac Show on Fridays, and also with Jeff at least, and Ben sometimes on the Big Show on Thursdays. All the social media links, the podcast, the projects, everything I'm doing is on my website, thepatrice.com. And as mentioned already, I have a show with Jeff, and I'm going to show the sticker I have in my iPhone case because my Mac is at home. Retro Rewatch. We're rewatching Stargate SG-1. We'll figure out how Jeff can continue watching it. And actually, today, I have to edit still, but I'll do that today. The final episode of Season 1, so the season finale of Season 1, Stargate SG-1, will drop today. Right after the show.
Made it.
Just takes an hour or so.
Made it all the way through season 1.
Yes, and it's a great finale, I can tell you that. We've made it through politics, we've made it through some of the really crap episodes. It was a really good show. So for the end of the year, we're basically also going through that. It's really cool.
All right. So, and then Chuck Joyner, thank you for being able to make it here this week. We appreciate it. Where can people find you?
MacVoices.com. That's where you can find everything. The aforementioned holiday gift guides, which stay, relevant for a lot of the year. Because if you got gift cards now and you're looking for ways to spend them, we can tell you exactly how to spend them and get some great products.
Yes.
Otherwise, right now, we are sort of playing catch-up on some live shows that we have done that got supplanted by the gift guides. That'll continue through the holidays. And then I'm headed for CES in Vegas to bring you even more things from the show floor that you may or may not be able to buy, and they may or may not be in business. But they're always interesting. As well as going back and seeing some vendors who are friends and are well established, so they'll be there. All that at MacVoices.com. The live show will be on hiatus until, although we are doing a special Mac Voices Live as we talk now today, Friday. We're doing a special Mac Voices Live Monday at MacVoices.com, or excuse me, at YouTube.com/MacVoicesTV for 1 hour starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then we segue right into Marty's show, which I'll let him tell you about in a minute, at 9. And on all the socials, you can find me as at Chuck Joyner. Dave, thanks for having me. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you. And we can't wait for your CES coverage. Marty Jencius, go ahead. You can tell us where people can find you in About Vision Pro profiles.
Jencius, Jencius at Blue Sky is probably the easiest way for people to connect with me. We're going to be doing this crossover show, I think, with Chuck on Monday. So he will go from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern time, and I'll go from 9 p.m. till 10 p.m. with Vision Profiles. And we have some crossover guests, too, which will be kind of fun to have non-Vision Pro owners, but there's still time, Chuck, that are going to be on the show. And what an experience if Chuck got one this weekend.
That would be cool.
And then was able to talk as a new user at 9 o'clock Eastern time on YouTube. And it's we're youtube.com/@Vision Profiles to find a live stream on there. On Tuesday nights, generally with Mac Voices Live. Thursday nights, generally with In Touch with iOS. I appreciate that. It's fun to be together, even on this off day, with friends that we have. Vision Profiles is one of the podcasts I do. You can find out about them at thepodtalk.net. And a couple of new surprises coming up in the new year. Podtalk.net, but I've got a couple of things in the bag that we'll talk about.
Look forward to it. Jeff Gamet, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And where can people find you?
Well, this month has actually been kind of hard to find me, and I apologize for that.
It's okay.
But okay, so when I'm findable, social media, Gamet on all of them. Actually, that's the place where you could find me this month, because I did my Lego Advent calendar, and just like previous years, something went horribly wrong at the end. But I no spoilers, so I won't tell you if that'll work out.
Go
okay. Okay, but anyhow, Instagram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, that's where most of my stuff's going. And then for shows, Chuck, you let me join in on Mac Voices Live, and I do appreciate that. And Dave, thank you for letting me join in on In Touch with iOS. Then on the British Tech Network, The Big Show and the Mac Show. And Brian Chaffin and I do The Context Machine, and Patrice Brend'Amour and I, as she has already pointed out, do Retro Rewatch. And I'm so disappointed that I forgot to run the dishwasher before I left for a few days. So I came back and went to make my tea this morning, and I don't have any clean Retro Rewatch mugs. So instead, it's Denver Museum of Nature and Science.
Okay. Well, glad you got your tea. Thanks, Jeff.
At least I got that.
Yes. Last but certainly not least, Ben Roethig, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me at Ben Roethig on your social media choice. You can find my writings and ravings at roethigtech.com. You can also find me occasionally as podcasts as Mac Voices Live with Chuck Boyner, the Big and Mac shows on the British Tech Network, and of course, In Touch with iOS with David Ginsburg.
Thanks, Ben. And thanks, everybody, for listening, watching, and being here. We appreciate it. We had a great time doing this. I want to wish everybody a happy new year, 2025. The next show will be next year, and we can't wait to come back and give you some more insights for the year for 2025. We'll see what happens with Apple, right? But until then, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll talk again soon.